Hello, welcome to Mindset to Results. And today our guest is Michael Forman, and he is expert in communications and networking. And today we will speak about the importance of the networking and how to do it the right way. Hi, Mike.
Hello, Elena. I'm very glad to be here.
You're most welcome. I'm also excited to speak today about networking and how to communicate the proper way because this is so important how we meet people, how we present ourselves, and how we build long lasting relations with the people we meet.
Sounds good.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself and what was in your life that helped to communicate with people in the that high level and be efficient and that you decided to share this with other people who are listening to us.
Well, I've been networking, I would say, for the last 30, 40 years. I'm a veteran of Desert Storm in the Air Force, and I was, I was a young 20-something kid I was pretty high in rank. I was enlisted, but I found the problem of I was younger than a lot of the people that I was directing what to do, and that's a problem all in itself. And so once I learned how to command that strategy and tell them what to do without being too overly, bossy. Um, but then when I got out, I became a business owner. I owned graphic design studios, pizzerias, restaurants, all those things. And then I went into the mortgage world and the law field as a sales director, and it everything came around to the same thing. It's communication, and I learned how to network from all these different jobs and positions I've held. How important it was to network and communicate properly because it's so easy to do it improperly um, that if you don't do it properly, you really cut your profits in half.
Yeah, great. So let's speak about this. Tell us what is the right way to communicate, especially when we come to networking events, yes, where people go often to meet new people and exchange information. And many people look for prospects and clients in networking events. So let's speak about this, how to do it the right way.
Well, everything that I'm about to tell you, you can do it in business and you can do it in your personal life as well. Just have to take it appropriately. But let's work on that networking event. Let's say you go to a networking event. It's a big event. It's a conference, a summit, anything like that. And when you first walk through the door, they usually have a sheet of where all the tables are and everything else. Usually, there's a before that s- meeting of all the tables and everything. You get to meet and greet. So you walk into a room, take that sheet of paper that tells you where everything is, but you walk into a room and there's tables and people talking and everything. So this is where you begin. You find a table, you walk up to it, you don't say anything. That's usually the first mistake. They start talking, no, 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 no. Wrong. Okay. You walk up and you listen. You listen for the conversation. Is this a conversation I want to be a part of? Okay, it's not politely bow out, go to the next table. But let's say it is. You walk up to the table and you're listening. You're listening for the opportunity for you to say something, hopefully that will strike a chord with somebody at the table. Now, you're going as the expert in your field. So whatever you say should really be that important. But let's say that you have that opportunity to say to one or two sentences to comment on the conversation. Now, if you've done your job correctly, that will mean that one or two of the people will acknowledge it and say, oh, yeah, that's right, or no, that's not right, or whatever. Okay. But so now of the four or five people at the table, you're now focusing on the two people that responded to you. And what you do is you walk over and say, hey, how you doing? What do you do? And he'll tell you. And when you're doing this, you're building up, you're trying to create that rapport with the person. And what you do is you let them talk. So I always invoke something called form, FORM, family, occupation, recreation, and a message that you can get to them on the same level. So you're talking to them, say, oh, you're married? Oh, that's great. Children? Yes. And you're talking to them on a personal level. So you're letting them talk, and you realize that, first of all, people love to talk about themselves. Okay. So they're talking about it, and slowly but surely, that barrier is coming down. And what barrier am I talking about? It's that in networking, there is a know you, like you, and trust you, and they'll do business with you. Okay. So if they don't trust you, they'll never do business with you. So that's what you're doing. So you're helping them reduce that barrier and build up that trust factor. So you're letting them talk. And then eventually you're going to get around to talking about business. Now, I still have not said anything that what I do, who I am, whatever. I'm letting the other person talk. And you know what? And after they're finished, you listen and then respond. And what I mean by that is that pause after you listen, right? That is telling the other person that you are listening to them. You're not
Mhm.
thinking about the next thing that you want to say. You are going to respond to what they say. And that's very, very important. And after he tells you, you say, you know something? I like you. I like what you do and how you do it. How can I be the best referral source for you? Because every time you go to a networking event, you're looking to give, not to receive. Okay, big thing. Never look to receive. Always look, how can you help all of these people? So he tells you all about what he does and how you can be a good referral source and say, look, may I have a business card? And on the back of his business card, you write down the date, the name of the function, and something that you spoke about. And that will come in very handy for the follow up. Okay. So, and this is one of those things where you step and repeat, every time you bump into somebody or want to talk to somebody. And for a 3 or 4 hour event, you should only walk away with 15, possibly 20 business cards. Have you ever gone to the networking event and you come home with a bunch of business cards? And then by the time you finish going through them, you don't remember the person, you only have the business card. That
Mhm.
is the reason why you write everything on the back of it. So you go through the meeting and you have that referral in your head for afterwards. Now you go through all of this and listen, the follow up is so much more important than just meeting a person. Meeting that person, building that trust, and having them speak with you on that level, that's very important. But if you don't follow up correctly, then you might as well not even have gone at all. So there's a pattern, there's a process of following up that if you do it like I'm telling you, you read it in my book and everything else, it almost guarantees you about 85% of a response. And really, that's all you're looking for. Positive or negative, it's a
Mhm.
response.
Yes, yes, amazing attitude. And I think that it is rare nowadays, yes, to meet people who really will come with this a willingness to listen, to know, and to give. And this is why when you come with this attitude, you will be very different from majority of people, and this is how people will remember you. Yes, because everyone is the most important person for themselves, and when you come with the attitude that you treat this person as he's the most important person, yes, in the world, he will remember that. Yeah, when you hear listen to him here, and when it is about him, and this is how people will pick up that different attitude. Yes, and they will see that, oh, like this is something different about this person. Yes, he or she is not like everyone who is just coming and just trying to sell me something. Yes.
So that's true. And the biggest thing that you have to remember is you have to be present. You have to let the other person know that they have 100% of your attention. Now, what's our number one distraction from that? It's your cell phone. Okay. So the whole idea is to take that cell phone, not only turn it off and turn it upside down, because if it vibrates, if it shows a little light, what are you going to do? You're going to look at it. Okay.
Mm.
That immediately tells the other person, well, I don't have 100% of his attention. I have 98, 95, whatever. Okay. So you turn that phone off, you put it away, and you're talking with them, you're speaking with them, and you're giving them 100%. And it's so novel, okay, because nobody has 100% of your attention, okay. But if you show that you are present, that you have 100% of his attention, and you respond to what he is saying, not the thing that you want to talk about, it's showing all this, and then you go into that, how can I be the best referral source for you? And that usually blows people out of the water. So you want to be a referral source for me? You just met me. Yes, but I like what you do and I like how you do it. So how
Mhm.
can I be the best referral source? And the best thing to do, of course, is if in the next week or two that you find somebody that could probably use their services, then you refer them.
Mhm. Yes, this is so valuable. And when it is genuine, yes, like this interest for to know people, it should come from heart. It should be really genuine interest, not just like robot. Yes, you know that you just have to stand and listen for person. It will be a different feeling. Yes, like if you do it just because you know that this is the process how you should act, or if you're really interested in people and come with this open mind to know, to meet them, to know what they do, and really be helpful, it will feel different. This is how people would like to connect to you more.
Yeah, you're building relationships. The days of building your client list is kind of out the window, okay? Because everybody can have a client. I, I
Mhm.
sell widgets, and you're gonna want to buy 2 widgets from me. Okay, you're gonna buy it. The sale is done, and I'll send you a follow-up email, and once a month or so, I'll keep you in mind. But there's no relationship there. So the whole idea is for you to build relationships with these people that you're meeting. And if you do it the proper way, then you are building relationship.
Yes, and what I noticed that some people who I build relationship, they recommend other people to come to me, and they refer other people. And one person, just after our conversation, he referred 10 people. He said that, oh, these people that you would like to meet, and he just introduced me to them, and we met and we had amazing conversations, and some of them came as guests on my podcast. So yes, when it is real communication between human beings, not between robots, because sometimes, especially like in some social media, it feels like there are robots, not people anymore, because they just contact you, and even without knowing what I do, just send me their offers. and sometimes it is not even relevant. And I think, like, just why just at least not to look what I do to see that it is just totally like a different field and not related even to me. Yes, so really it is so important just to be human beings and have this genuine interest to others, and understand that other people also, they come for this event with the goal, yes, to be heard, to be seen. Yes, and as you said, that to give first these people what they want. Yes, give them what they came for, and then as the response, they would like also to know more about you, and it will be natural. Yes, and this will be from them wanting to know about you, not from you pushing it to them.
That's correct. You have to remember that people love to buy things. They love to buy, but they hate to be sold to, and that's very important because if you're not selling yourself, then they'd be more interested to buy your services, whatever the case may be. Okay, so if you keep that in mind, and I have a good between a client and a relationship, and there's one way that I always bring up that really shows the difference between a client and a relationship, and that is imagine yourself in a grocery store and you bump into a client and you say, "Hi, Elena, how you doing? Hey, hi, Michael, how you doing?" And you move on. And as opposed to, "Hi, Elena, how are you? How's your husband? How's your son? How's your daughter? Oh, I heard that she was injured in softball. I'm sorry to hear that. Is she better?" And bring it up like that. Have a 5-minute conversation and then move on. So you've just elevated yourself a little bit in their eyes because you took the time to remember about her family, about his family.
Mhm. Yes, and this is time which we live in. It is famous with like deficit of attention and deficit of focus. It's like everybody is so busy and focused on themselves that sometimes it is really rare to meet people who would really be open and interested and put time to know you and speak about you. And this is what people remember.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely remember that.
Yeah, so what else after, like, the following process after the event? Let's speak about this. Like, we
Okay.
meet people, we knew about them, we exchanged the business cards, we wrote the date of the event and about this person, some particular things which we can use later to follow up with him. So, what is the next?
Okay. Well, as I said before, the follow-up is so important. I when I went to a networking event and I was asking somebody about their follow-up, and they say, "Oh, I immediately send an email, and if they don't respond a week later, I'll send another email. Then if they don't respond to that, another week goes by." And I'm like, "Okay, that's fine because you lost, I won." Because my way of following up is so much better and will keep me in their eyes so much more than you, then that's okay. And what my way is, and it's not overdoing it, but it's not underdoing it. So at the end of the evening, I'm going back to my office or going back to my home. It doesn't really matter. I send a thank you email. Okay. "Hey, Elena, this is Michael. I met you on such and such date, such time. I thank you for meeting with me. Have a good night, Michael." And I send that off. Now, it didn't have any business, didn't have any time I wanted to meet him, nothing. It was just that, a thank you email for meeting with me. So that means that the next morning, I don't send an email. I send a handwritten thank you note.
Mhm.
And I say almost the same thing. "Hey, Elena, this is Michael. I met you on such and such date, such time. We spoke about your daughter. Uh, she was hurt in Little League. Um, hope she feels better. Michael. I put a business card in there and I send it. Okay, so now you've gotten an email. In about 3 days, you're going to get this thank you note. And that thank you note, listen, if you send that first email, you have about a 20% chance of getting a response.
Mm-hmm.
When you sent that thank you note, you just upped it to about 50 or 60%. So let's say you still didn't respond to me. I wait about 4 days because around 3 days, that's what it takes for you to get that thank you note. And just imagine you being in your office and you receive that thank you note. It's not a bill, it's not a request, it's anything, it's a thank you note. So that right there elevated me up beyond anybody else that you met.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's say 4 days later, I still haven't gotten a response from you. I send you an email. Hey Elena, this is Michael. I met you at such and such date, such time, and everything. We spoke about your daughter. Hope she's doing well. Um, Listen, I just looked at my schedule for next week, and I see Tuesday and Wednesday are clear. How about us meeting on Tuesday? Michael. Okay, so so that follow-up email to that thank you note really raised my response rate. Now look, you can respond positively or negatively. Doesn't really matter. I'm looking for a response. So that 50 or 60%, I just raised it to 70%, 75%. Now, when you respond, you can say, "Oh, okay, I'm not sure what day, but we'll get into that." So you're already into the next week, and if you still haven't responded, if you're still that stuck about responding to me, I send you one more email. Hey, Elena, this is Michael. Remember me? I met you at such and such place, such time. We talked about your daughter. Listen, Tuesday filled up for me. How's Wednesday at 3 o'clock? Michael. Now you're going to respond to me, I hope, with either, no, this really isn't a good week for me, catch up to me later on, or this week is a little busy for me. How about next week? Or, yes, Wednesday sounds fine. How's 3 o'clock? Okay, so I'll tell you what to do when you meet with the person, but even if they don't, very simple. You take your card and you put it into your CRM, you put all the information in there. So if you have a newsletter or just a follow-up email once a month or something like that, you have the information to do that. But let's say I'm going to meet you on Wednesday. I verify it and everything else. I say, look, there's a cute little coffee shop. Let's just meet there. It's great. So we meet. Say, hey, Elena, how are you? How's your daughter? How did she get better? How's she playing? Um, and talk about personal things because the barrier has gone up again. Okay, because you're out of that situation. So your trick is to bring that barrier down, bring the trust level up, and by speaking about the family or the vacation or something about his job, something like that, that will do that. Remember, know you, like you, trust you, they'll do business with you. Okay. So then after about 5 or 10 minutes, then you start getting into the business aspect of it and you can talk like regular people. And that's the follow up.
Yes, yes, it is really so powerful a way how to connect with people. Yes, to put your time to show your real interest and let time to create that interest from them also towards you.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
How else we can improve communication when it is business to business?
Well, all of this was communication. All of it, besides networking, It was communicate. And the way to effectively communicate is to give that person 100% of your attention. Now, when you first meet, you shake their hand, and you don't shake their hand like a dead fish. You firmly shake their hand, okay? You look them square in the eye when you're doing it. Excuse me. You do all this because, first of all, you're talking to them with confidence. And confidence, that's the number one factor when you're dealing with anybody else. You have to show that you're confident. Because if you're not confident, well, that throws everything out the window because, there's like, well, all right, you don't really know what you're doing. Okay. So there's a lot of things with that confidence that you do. And then you go into talking and building up the relationship and everything else, but you must show that confidence. And I'll tell you, there's one other thing, when I say to put networking on your schedule, okay? Because listen, like anything else, like any other skill, you must what? You must practice. And the first time out, you're not going to be that good or think that you're not good. You're probably better than you think. But you have to go one, two, three, four, five, six times before you can really get into the mood of networking and put it on your calendar. Okay, every other week, I'm going to go do a networking event. There's a million networking events. Go on to meetup.com, you join your local chamber of commerce. They usually have after hours meetups. And listen, if you want to start small, okay? And join a chamber of commerce or go there after hours. And you always have that 30, 40 people. Now, of that 30 or 40 people, usually 25 of them are the same people all the time. But,
Mhm.
you have five or six people that are new. And let's say that now, look, you go to these meetings, these after hours meetings, and you're talking to everybody and you're getting close with everybody. That's good. But what happens if you see somebody walk in and they go to the wall, right? And they're just looking to place. They're really not confident enough to walk out into the middle of it. You take it upon yourself to walk over to them. You walk over to them and say, "Hi, how you doing? I'm Michael. What's your name? What do you do? Oh, okay, you're Elena. You do marketing? You know what? That table over there is filled with graphic designers and things like that. They would love to talk to you. Why don't you come on over? I will introduce you." So you're
Mhm.
introducing them to that table. And what did you just do for yourself? You heightened your level with that person immediately. Now you don't have to stick around, you don't have to talk with them, you move on somewhere else. But all throughout the night, they will remember you
Mhm.
and move on from there. So I call that be the host, not the guest. Um, but like, let me circle back around and say exactly what I wanted to say is that you're building up these small meetings and then slightly larger meetings and then slightly larger meetings. And pretty soon you will be so good at it, you won't have to remember the steps. You'll just be doing it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. We can see how we can valuable even in the situation which you described. Some people have really low self-esteem, and it is difficult for them to come and start conversation. Yes, and
Yeah,
if we again have that leadership position, that how we can help people, how we can create better experience for them, and we have that approach and attitude to be helpful, this is how people will appreciate. Yes, and they will naturally would love to know about us, what we do, and this is how
they,
we
they,
will build a relationship.
they could be slightly more introverted than
Mhm.
extrovert. Okay. And all they need is that little push, that little help. And once they get started, because introvert, they can talk to one or two people, but if they see the whole room, then they kind of go crazy. So you bring them over to that setting of just like two or three people, and it helps them build their confidence.
Yes, great, great. This is so important knowledge that you shared. And what else we can speak about communication today? What else? I know you have so many things to share.
Well, the communication is whether you're meeting a neighbor or meeting somebody in a business environment, um, for you to feel that confidence in speaking to somebody, you have to build up their trust, and it's amongst everybody. Know you, like you, trust you. Okay, that should be resonating in your mind. But if you're talking with your neighbor, you're there with confidence. You're there being attentive, being everything that they're talking about. No distractions. That's the biggest part of communication that you can have. So, when I first started telling you that networking and communication, you can really take so much from it out of the business world and put it into personal, because a lot of that builds off of one another. Okay. If you're not confident in your personal life, you're not going to be confident in business and vice versa. Okay. You can't be a confident, you can't have if you don't have your confidence in your personal life, how are you going to transform that into business? Okay.
Yes, this is yes. This is so important. This confidence because it is what people feel even before you start speaking. They feel how you feel, yeah, like that energy which you radiate. And we all know that there are some people who are very confident and they just walk into the room and it just feels that these people are so confident. They just come and you can feel the energy and everybody looking at them, and it is something different about them. Yes, so this inside, like when people really love what they do, when they feel fulfilled, yes, that they really uh, aware, like high level of consciousness. It's like they know what they do and they have that value. And when we meet these people, it feels, yes, like other people get attracted towards them because of the way how they feel about themselves.
I always say, first of all, you can have that air of confidence, but you have to know what to do with it. Okay. So you don't talk over somebody to shut them out. You have to listen to them. Well, it happens so often that, you really have to be careful. So when you walk into a room and listen, what do people remember? People remember stories. And what do they remember? They remember humor. Okay. I always, when I go on stages, when I do either keynote speeches or breakout sessions, even workshops, I always inject that little bit of humor into what I do, because I consider myself fairly funny. But if you're not funny, if you're not a funny person, don't try to do it. Okay. Because everybody can tell if you're forcing out a joke or if you're forcing out humor, they can tell. So don't do it. But try to think of two separate stories before you go to the event. And because at a certain time, say, oh, you know what? I can bring up that story now. If it's a good story, people will listen and people will remember that story. They'll remember the humor. I remember the story. Like, oh, he was a funny guy. I remember him. Or, oh, he told me that great story when they went up to a lake. So those are little things that you can do to be remembered and put yourself one up than from everybody else.
Yeah, yeah, it is very good that you said. Yes, people remember stories. Yes, they may not remember everything you said, but the story definitely they will remember. And also,
Exactly.
I think that it is important just to be yourself, not just to pretend you are somebody else. It just be
Always.
yourself. Yes, just value yourself who you are, and just be authentic. Yes, like
Yeah. It's, I said I bring humor. The last breakout session that I did, I use slides. and one slide I had two chimpanzees on it. That's all I had. And I walked up right in the middle. And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. These are my two brothers. I brought family photos instead." And I got a laugh out of it. I said, "That's Scott. That's Stephen. And we all look alike." And you know, it, at the time, it was funny. So in the middle of my breakout session, I did a little humor, had people laughing, and we talked about that. So there's different ways to keep the attention of everybody that you're talking with.
Mm. Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Michael. It is really very beneficial conversation which we had, and I'm sure that people who listen to us will learn so much from this what you shared.
I hope so. That's why I
Yes,
do
so
it.
yes, the power is in implementation. So whatever you learn today, start implementing and see how it will improve your communication and results in your business.
You can do it all this afternoon. You can start by anybody in your neighborhood, going to a chamber of commerce event. It's just you can use this anytime, anywhere with anybody.
Yeah, real communication is so important, and I think many people missed this time when it was COVID. Really missed this time when we can really meet people, like communicate. It is such a privilege now. Yes, nowadays, just
Yes,
to
it
go
is.
and meet new people, be yourself, just be genuinely interested in them. Yes, and find new friends and grow your business with ease and with joyfulness. Yes, it shouldn't be hard. It should be all be great experience of communication and growing your network.
Precisely. Yes.
Thank you so much, Michael. So I'm looking forward to speak to you again in our future episodes.
Sounds good to me.